Hey everyone, just before we begin, this video is a re-edited upload of a reaction from our previous and now deleted channel, so please check that you subscribe to this new channel here, enjoy the review, and we look forward to seeing you in some new material coming very soon. Hi there and welcome back to Japan, where I'm going to be checking out a little bit more of BiSH. And BiSH, as you probably know, are the group who I kind of look forward to listening to them most. Now, it's not to say that they're my favourite band ever, but when they are good, they are absolutely amazing. And when they're not so much to my taste, they give me a lot to at least discuss with you guys. Now, the more I hear of them, the more I've been sort of catching up and really enjoying sort of finding out the crazy things they do. And the whole Carrot Sticks album thing has been a really interesting place to sort of learn about them as well. And I love the fact that every time I put on one of their tracks, I just really don't know what I'm going to get. Luckily I'm not doing it as an album listen through yet, although I really wanted to. I haven't been able to get my hands on a copy of the albums. That being said, because I'm just picking up the songs up by name as they come up in suggestions, I never know if it's going to be one of the crazy ones or not. And this song that I'm checking out today, as you know because you already clicked on my link, is Freeze Dry of the Past, a name that does not give you any hints what the hell is going on. I believe this is a live video based on the thumbnail that I saw, but I'm going to check it out anyway, and hopefully it'll be good audio quality. But here we go. Freeze Dry of the Past, apparently, and it says Freeze Dry of the Past and yet BiSH moves. Oh, maybe that's the full title. Who knows? 4 minutes 30 of it though, so less of me waffling. Let's listen to it and talk about it afterwards. I'm going to have to explain that I really like that. And I feel that I need to justify why, and so many things that we need to discuss about this. Partly because I'm aware that to a lot of people I know that has a lot of the same qualities that maybe would have made them like the song Am I Frenzy, which I actually drew some very negative things from that song. I liked a lot about it, but in the end I just thought it kind of sounded annoying and irritating to me. It was probably my least favourite feeling from a BiSH song ever. But like I said, I love that some of their songs I never know what I'm going to get with them. So why does this song work so incredibly well, in my opinion? Well, first of all, what it obviously is going for is very clear. Whether you take it from the theatrical on-stage stuff, which is brilliantly done, by the way. Kudos to the fact they really overact it, but they do it, they throw themselves into it. There's a real feel that they're very sort of passionate about this sort of dramatic and intense image that they have in some of their songs, and equally the fun and cutesy image they have in other songs. They really throw themselves into the stuff. But the very simple idea of the song was obviously a contrast between your quiet bits and your loud bits, very separate, and each one kind of powered by how different they are from the other part of the song. The quiet bits is powered by the fact you can feel it sort of brooding, and the fact that it's the calm before the storm, and the loud bits are impactful because of how they come in. So much to say about that. So let's see them as their own individual qualities. Now, the quiet bit, first of all, beautiful. Like I said, that guitar sound is amazing. I love that. It's very sort of pointed, very sharp, very thin, but it kind of has a slightly suspicious vibe to it. I like that, and the little drum beat, which was kind of on the side stick, but with a slight stuttering production thing, which as a result makes it sound a little bit unhinged, a bit off of where it should be. Interesting enough, they used a style of reverb on the backing music in those bits, which was really good. Now, the reason I say this is because reverb very often is used to give us sort of a bit of a wash to soften sound, stop everything sounding so harsh. The reverb they used here was to make it sound like it was in a very small room. It's a very tight style of reverb that makes it sound like you're listening to something which is being played kind of around the corner, like you're in a small building, standing and hearing something around the corner, like you're in the corridor of your apartment building. You can just hear someone playing this just around the corner from you. This is actually a good style of production, and this is often used because it kind of gives this weird feeling, like I say, that you are near to something, but you're listening to it. Kind of like a second-person vibe, I think would probably be a good way of describing it. It's not for you, like you're overhearing something. It's not that big sort of washy concert reverb that makes something sound huge. Or it's not the dry sound of something sounding like it's really in front of you. It has that secondary vibe of sounding like you're overhearing it. And that feeling that the music is kind of somewhere slightly away from you kind of gives everything a slightly more tense vibe again. So along with the brilliant guitar sound and the nice way that weird little riff was written, slightly offbeat, the notes were being played and that being complemented by the side stick drum beat, which itself had some little stutters in it. Everything sounded slightly unhinged, and yes, it was very simply written, but just all the details made it sound much more tense. Vocal delivery was nice as well. I think maybe before that first bit where it comes in really loud, they could have had a slightly longer build up to that. You think of songs where they do that kind of thing, I'm thinking of older songs now, sort of like Live and Let Die, or was it My Oh My by Sad Cafe? Very different song, but again, it's that whole sort of thing, the quiet's building up to the loud, and the first impact of the loud sort of part of the song should be slightly delayed a bit, but fair enough, they didn't build up to it as much as I thought they were going to, but still nice contrast there. And the vocal delivery in those quiet bits was sort of kind of nice and spoken, and like I say, they are very good at putting the theatrics into their performance, both musically and visually. Now the loud bits, what I really liked about that is when it comes to the loud bit, initially the bit which impacts you is a 2-chord thing. It's like da na 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 na, and the vocal just kind of follows that. There's not a huge amount of melody. It's more of a blast. It's enough to be sing-alongable, but it's somewhere between a chant and a shout and a melody. You usually think a normal chorus, as I was saying in a recent review, is usually a 4-chord affair. This, we're looking at a 2-chord affair, and that kind of makes it's very simple. It's all just about the blast of energy, which is fair enough. But then, rather than relying on that too much, as the song develops, in the louder bits, you then get those sort of secondary parts of the chorus where the chords develop more. Now, it's very simple, don't get me wrong. I know that if you're a guitarist, you're looking at this thinking, well, anyone could play this. I could get a person who's been playing for 1 year and they could probably play this entire song without any real trouble. And, you'd be right. It's incredibly easy to play everything in this song. But it's about a very simple, the loud bits of this song are about a very simple contrast of the chord pattern against the vocals. As you go towards the end of the song and the loud bits become longer, like I say, they develop. The vocal melody develops into something more interesting, builds up rhythm, builds up a little bit more detail to the melody, but the chords really develop. They start going from that 2-chord thing into a more expanded thing. And there's just a surprising amount of really good writing in those loud bits that you could maybe miss if you were just sort of thinking of it as being, it's just a blast of sound, as it is towards the beginning of the song, admittedly. As it goes on, the writing's really interesting, and I'd love to sort of break that down to someone on a sheet of paper and show them the sort of chord patterns it goes through and the clever little ways it sort of repeats itself but then alters itself as it moves on. It's actually very interesting, and there's loads of little bits where a little chord change will come in and I go, okay, that's clever. You could have backed out of that and done something much more simple, but you took that in and developed it more. So the quiet bits are fantastically audibly, sonically interesting. The loud bits are simple, but take advantage of that to develop a nice sort of a nice steer themselves nicely through the writing of the chord pattern. It has. It really does make the most of both of its separate parts. Yeah, now, I know that obviously it's not something you'd expect to really be a single. I imagine this is why it doesn't have a dedicated music video, because it's not particularly catchy, but as a conveyor of mood, as a conveyor of emotion, it's brilliant. I always say this when it comes to live things where there's dance and theatrics involved. I am an appreciator of these arts, but where I've worked in the music industry with music and with writing and with production and studio stuff, I can't claim to be an expert on the dance side of things. However, it kind of looked cool that they really sort of developed almost like a narrative to the whole choreography of it, which was interesting. Like I say, they did a great job of throwing themselves into it, like in the chorus where they're virtually screaming. The bit where the girls are sort of rolling their eyes back and sticking their tongues out reminded me of like a haka or a sort of a New Zealand, pulling the scary face to be threatening in like a war dance sort of way. It was very, over the top and intense, but it was good at conveying it. I mean, the whole song was clearly about melodrama. It's a very melodramatic piece, which, like I say, I think that came across and I think that worked well. So all in all, that's brilliant. Now, why did I like this in a way that I did not like Am I Frenzy? Now, often we come across this issue, and this has been mentioned a few things, and this is sometimes where I come up against a bit of a brick wall. And I'm willing to say that what I'm about, the rule, if you like, I'm about to put forward here, is not one that is without its grey areas. This is just a general guide. Am I Frenzy kind of traded on this guttural scream. And it wasn't like at one moment to accent it, it was the main part of the chorus. This song had a lot of screaming, volume, and level to it as well. But I think this demonstrates what I was talking about there, in that this song, the intensity, the feeling that it's from the gut, the feeling that it's sort of over-emotional, that it's almost sort of psychotic, comes across perfectly without once ever deviating away from being music. Every single part of this song is music. It's musical. It's something where you can look at it as a piece of music and say, okay, that is why it works. The guttural scream being the main part of the chorus in Am I Frenzy was a nice experiment, but in my opinion it was just like they focused so much on something, a scream that just isn't a, you know, I know there are, you can do death metal screams and stuff like that, I get that, but it was a sort of scream that didn't have any musical reason. It was just a noise, and a noise that a human brain should, if you're not crazy, find a little bit disturbing. And I think if you want to evoke a sort of that feeling, you can, as this song showed, do that in a musical way. So I think they've kind of proved the point for me. Not that I'm saying that they dislike the other song. I'm sure they love all of their songs and they love doing them, and credit to the fans who enjoy them as well. That's absolutely fine. Just in my opinion, this is a demonstration of kind of the exact same theory that Am I Frenzy used, but this is doing it right in a way that Am I Frenzy, to me, it was a laudable, admirable experiment, but I don't think it had the achievement this did. This one can package and deliver that disturbing feeling, but in a way where you feel like you want to sort of dive in and listen to it again. Like, you know, like watching something like intensely gruesome but well written, like, you know, like the movie Seven. You know, that's got some bits in it where you're like, but you kind of feel like the plot, it's transmitting its message, and that you're willing to be shaken up by those bits to enjoy the feeling it's trying to transmit across to you. And that's how I feel about this. I feel that this is clearly trying to deliver that disturbing feeling, but it's doing it in a way that it's trying to get the message across from me rather than just trying to shock me. So yeah, to me this was a genuinely artistically interesting piece. I can totally understand if it's not a single and why it wouldn't be a single and why you're not going to hear this on the radio, unless you're very lucky with the weird radio stations you've been listening to. But does anyone listen to radio anymore? Tears. It's, yeah, to me it's just a very, very interesting, good piece, and just demonstrates why their whole mission to be an alternative idol group, or basically not like a normal idol group, works, in that they're not just looking to cascade the singles out, and they're not just looking to appease listeners. They are looking to transmit, like I say, these different sort of feelings, these songs that are sometimes melodramatic, sometimes over the top, but they're doing these things that you know you're never going to hear on radio. They're there to give a different take. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. I thought it was, like I say, a mixture of the theatrical and the rock. You know, it had elements of rock, elements of pure theatre to it, and I mean that in the writing as well as anything, you know, sort of almost soundtracky qualities to it. And it had just a great intensity to it, and kudos as well for the way it was projected as a stage show, the way they did the choreography. Like I said, it's not a thing I've got any expertise in it at all, but it looked really interesting. I just thought this was really good. I'm really interested though too, as always, the best thing about this channel is that we have so many people who like different types of music. Really interested to see what you guys think in the comments. Maybe it takes a couple of listens for you to get into it. Maybe the initial shock's too much. Maybe you love it, maybe you hate it, maybe you're a BiSH fan, maybe you're not a BiSH fan. Really want to know what you guys think, and also what you think of my comments on this one. Start a bit of a discussion on this, and maybe if you're one of the people who really disagree with me on Am I Frenzy, maybe this highlights the point or doesn't, and you know, just get into this and get into discussion. As always, I think it's going to be a really good conversation starter, but as always, thank you so much for tuning in. And for now, from Japan, where I've still got a cough, ciao ciao. Thanks for watching. Feel free to check out more of our hundreds of videos we got online on this channel right now, or get involved in the discussion with us at the many social media links we've got in the description below, where you can suggest new videos and artists for us to check out on the channel.
Or you can just do the usual YouTube stuff and comment, like, subscribe. You know how this works by now.